Hello and welcome to the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. This is my channel to talk about all things crochet and knitting and crafty and all of those good things. My name is Ali. I live in Kent, which is in the very southeast of the UK, where I live with my husband and our two daughters, who as of yesterday have finished school, and by that I mean finished homeschool, which we've been doing since the beginning of lockdown here in the UK, and they have finished that now, and we are now officially on our summer break, and I couldn't be more thrilled, but more on that later. I'll do a little sort of life update throughout, no doubt, a life ramble throughout. What else to say? Oh, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Starry Eyes Ali, and there are timestamps or chapters for everything that I talk about in this video underneath in the description box, if you want to jump around to any particular section and not just watch the whole ramble in order. And it will be a ramble because it's been a little while. Normally it's about 2 weeks between podcasts, and I've been doing a lot of vlogs recently as well, but I've had a bit of an extended break just because I was getting nothing done, so I had nothing to show you. Notice how I do this. Oh, I had nothing to show you and I was getting nothing done. Oh, this! Oh, this is just a finished object that I made. But we'll come to that in a minute. What was I saying? Yeah, so I was getting nothing done, so I just gave myself a little bit of a break so I could get my head down, get some projects made, just enjoy a bit of peace and, well, when I say peace and quiet, a bit of time away from filming. And it's just been life and work and various stresses going on that have just prevented me from finding the time to do this. So I'm very happy today to be filming a podcast, and I've already lost my train of thought. I think I was saying that it was going to be a ramble. Anyway, it already is. So what we're going to be talking about today is some finished objects. I've got one crochet finished object, a knitted finished object, actually two finished crochet objects, except one's a bit of a cheat, but you'll see why in a second. So many whips, so many works in progress to go through. A few little incoming bits. I'm going to talk about some books that I've been reading and some audiobooks I've been listening to. I thought I might start doing that as part of the podcast. I do talk about that occasionally, but because I've been managing to fit that in a bit more. Okay, great, there's a fly in here. No, it's a mozzie. I bet I get bitten by the end of this. I'm also going to give you a little and finally bit, a sort of life update and a few little updates on other bits and bobs that you might be interested in. Yeah, so there's a lot to go on about basically, so make sure you've got your tea or your coffee or your beverage of choice, your glass of wine or whatever time of day it is. It's 10:30 in the morning here, so obviously I'm on the white now. I've got a cup of tea. Except I've got so many things around me that I need to talk to you about that I've got nowhere to put my tea but on the floor. So I'm just going to take a gulp, and I will have cut the gulp out because I really hate the sound of gulping tea. Oh, that's warm, and this top is very warm. I'm not going to be keeping this on for the whole episode because even though it's short sleeved, 100% wool, is 27 degrees today, which is, oh, I downloaded an app because I really struggle with, for some reason, in my head I can compute Fahrenheit, but everyone in the UK uses Celsius, so I don't know at what point I decided that Fahrenheit was easier to understand. And I downloaded an app yesterday that converts it. It's called, I think it's literally called Celsius and Fahrenheit. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Celsius and Fahrenheit. And you put in like where you are in the UK and it gives you the temperature in both Celsius and Fahrenheit. So I've got a few like key places to me, where we're going on holiday, where we live, and my favourite place in the world, which is Aberdeen in Scotland, and it tells me that today where we live it is 20 degrees Celsius, which is 68 Fahrenheit at the moment. It's going to go up to about 27. In Aberdeen it's a lovely 16 degrees Celsius and 61 degrees Fahrenheit. What can I say? I'm British, we need to start with the weather. Anyway, yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to get started with finished objects so I can tell you about this so I can then take it off. Finished objects then. I am wearing my finished as if tee. Now this is a pattern by Shay Johnson, who is Knit and Crochet. I'm just going to make sure I've got my notes in front of me to make sure I don't forget anything that I want to say about it. Oh yes, right. The pattern. Okay, I've got all my little bits and bobs to show you. So the pattern is the as if tee. It is inspired by an outfit that Cher wears in Clueless, in the movie Clueless, and I love that film. And this is her sort of updated version of the original one. It's the As If Tea 2.0. I'm not sure, I think it just means she added sizes and updated the pattern a bit. That's what it looks like. That's the designer Shay Johnson there wearing it. As you can see, it's a very, very cropped top. Here is it on the back on a mannequin. So you can see there how cropped it is. I was never going to make it that cropped because I'm 42. No, I'm not. I'm 43. Oh dear. Does anyone else have to count back to the year they were born and think, no, hang on a minute, how old am I again? I was born in 1977. So yeah, I'm 43. So I don't think I'm going to get away with it. I've also got a stomach that is absolutely riddled with scars, and I feel very self-conscious about it. I could have done a crop top and worn it with a vest underneath, but it would have had to be a vest that wasn't figure hugging, because my scars are such that you can see them if I wear something figure hugging. And so I did make it a little bit longer. I can try and stand up to show you, but I have also I did a little video yesterday in the garden. Phoebe directed me, so I'm going to put that over the top now, of me prancing about to show you what it looks like. As you can see, I made it slightly longer, and it was the length of it was judged on two factors. One, I wanted it as long as I could get it to cover my stomach, and two, I didn't want to run out of yarn. And in the end, I had this amount. This is what I've got left of the yarn, which is the main body. I'm going to stand up. I feel a bit self-conscious because I feel like I'm just putting my boobs in your face, but there you go. So yeah, I think we'll just stick to the little video that I did, so you can see the length, because I'm not going to stand on the chairs because I'm wearing I'm not going to stand on the chair because I'm wearing socks with shorts, which is a look, but there you go. This is how much yarn I have left at the end of making the As If Tea. That is it. How impressive is that? I mean, that is very, very satisfying to get to the end of a project and that is all you've got left. I basically used just about every scrap of yarn, and these tiny bits that are left are going to go into my ugly blanket, which is a blanket which I keep next to my bed. It's for all sort of 4-ply, DK and Aran weight scraps, so these are not big enough for minis to swap or do anything else with, so it's going to go into the ugly blanket. And the two yarns I used for this are Treskilion yarn Emrys worsted, which is the main colour worsted on the body. The colour is Penumbral. There you go. And the other one is Banshee yarns. This is the it's actually not, it's a Mohair silk. So that's Banshee yarns. It's in the colourway Nightmare. There we go. And that's the bit that forms the see-through section here at the top. I bought both of these at my first ever visit, or my first and only ever visit, because it was cancelled this year, to Fibre East, which is a big fibre festival here in the UK. So I bought that then, and that was last year, so that was a year ago I bought this, and I had been searching for yarns for ages to make this, having seen some wonderful projects on Ravelry and Instagram where I was just like, right, I've got to make that. The pattern, I am really, really tempted to make it again because it was so brilliantly, sorry, I have to keep picking things up off the floor. It was so brilliantly written. This is the first knitted garment I have ever made and completed. I've started a couple where I've not got very far. So this is the first knitted garment I've made, and honestly it fits me like a dream. I'm so happy that I spent time right at the beginning of this project really working out the gauge, and I had to go down to, so the pattern actually calls for, I just want to demonstrate how far I went down. So for the main body of the pattern, it actually calls for a 4.5mm knitting needle. Now everybody's different, so everyone's going to end up using different needle sizes probably, unless you knit exactly the same as the designer. I actually knit this whole thing on 2.75mm needles with Aran weight yarn to get the correct gauge for the pattern. But in doing that to get the correct stitch gauge, of course my row gauge was then out because it was much smaller. So what I did to compensate for that was I knit some extra rows in the bust shaping area so that they then weren't too short, and then I already knew I was going to be making it longer anyway, so that wasn't going to make a huge difference. And for the sleeves, what you actually do, you don't actually knit sleeves other than doing these little bits here. So that wasn't ever going to be a problem. So actually the row gauge for me in the end, because I was making it longer anyway, didn't really make much difference. But I would definitely make this again and make sure I had plenty yarn to make it even slightly longer again. I love this Nightmare mohair silk, but the mohair, especially on a day like today when it's warm and I'm a bit, you know, hot, it does itch slightly. It wouldn't bother me, I don't think, in the winter when I'm not feeling so sticky. So I think if I knit this again, I would do it with something that was maybe not actual mohair. You can get what am I thinking of? No, I can't think. But you could just do it with a lace weight, I suppose. But the fluffiness is nice. But maybe I'd do it with a fake one so that it was maybe not so itchy on my skin here. And I would definitely do it in a darker colour again. I really like that. And if I were to change anything doing it again, I might make the neckband slightly wider. Although that said, my head goes through this perfectly. I like the way it sits. I'm very happy with the fit of it. You can knit this in the round, or you can knit it flat as well. So, and you can also choose to knit it holding the mohair double throughout the whole pattern, so that you don't have to do full intarsia for this bit. I elected to do full intarsia because I was worried I didn't have enough of the mohair to do the whole thing. And I was a bit worried about it because it's colour work. I've never done much of that before. I've certainly not done it going backwards and forwards, so I was purling and knitting. And it was fine, and my floats are fine, and I've got no problems, and I just feel really proud of myself, really, and a bit chuffed. And I feel like the pattern really helped talk me through it all. There's little sort of tips and hints throughout it, and yeah, I was really pleased with it, and I think I would definitely make it again. Lilia, my eldest daughter, likes the idea of it because she really likes the film Clueless as well, so who knows, maybe she'll demand one. Yeah, so great pattern, really loved both the yarns, really, and yeah, really pleased with it. But no matter how pleased I am with it, I'm going to take it off because I am sweltering. Oh, that is better. I've got a nice loose cotton t-shirt on now, and it makes a big difference to wearing 100% BFL. Okay, so that is my first finished object. It only took me like 10 minutes to talk to you about it. So I'm going to move on to the second finished object, which I'm obviously not going to put on because it's just going to make me hot. So again, I'm going to put a little video on the screen in a minute, but I have finished the Easy Lace Panel Top. It is by Kumbi Ayo Akinlawo. She is knit and crochet designer here in the UK. I've followed her for quite some time. She is absolutely lovely. And this is a terrible printout because my printer was running out of colour ink. But it's a beautiful yellow, the one that she's wearing there. This is the Easy Lace Panel Top. I test crocheted this and I made it in 4 days. I could not put it down. It was utterly addictive. Here it is in all its glory, and I'm now going to put the video of me up on the screen of me prancing about the garden wearing it. It's got the ruffle sleeves, and it's designed to be made with a cotton or cotton blend yarn. I used, where is my thing? I used Drops Bomull-Lin, which I've not heard of before, but it is a cotton and linen blend. It's in the Drops yarn group C, which is like their Aran weight yarn. There it is. It is 53% cotton and 47% linen. And the colour I've got is colour 20, which is like a sort of dark sort of gunmetal grey. and I really, really love it. It's such a perfect yarn to work with when the weather is warm in summer, because it's dry. Even now, touching this, if I was wearing it, I'd be hot because it's a weighty yarn, you know, because it's Aran weight. But it is very open. You could wear it with nothing underneath it. In the video, I've got nothing but my bra on underneath it, and it's not like, you know, what's the word? It's not like, you're not going to be showing off your everything. You know, like I say, I've got scars on my body and I would be happy to wear it. I wouldn't feel like my skin was showing. You would, if you were wearing, say, like a flesh coloured bra underneath, you wouldn't notice that it was a little bit gappy, as crochet is. It's just the nature of crochet. Where was I going with this? I can't remember. Anyway, I absolutely love it. It's got this beautiful sort of lace panel detail on the back, and thinking about it, I'm not sure I actually turned around to show you that in the video, but this is like my favourite part of it, is this lace panel detail on the back, and then it comes round to the front, but the lace sits kind of quite high up here, and it's got a kind of scoop neck and the frilly sleeves. I used a 4mm hook for mine. All of my project pictures and everything are on Ravelry. Now, I know that there is some issues with Ravelry at the moment. I've been reading that some people, or a lot of people, are having a lot of problems with the new design. And actually, I thought to myself, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, I don't really get that, don't really understand. And then after a couple of days of sort of looking through it, or checking messages, or uploading notes, it began to really get to me, the new design. I can't put my finger on what it is, but I just sort of felt, I don't know, a little bit angry like using it. It was the most peculiar thing. So I've actually switched. You can toggle back and switch to classic view, which I've done. I don't go on Ravelry a huge amount, but obviously I do put my project note. I love Ravelry, and I really hope they sort it out, because it doesn't seem, and you know, I know it's free, and but so many people, so many crafters rely on that site. And so many crafters are crafting because they're trying to distract themselves or feel better. We all know how good crafts are for our mental health, or if we're unwell. I think there's a higher proportion, isn't there, of people who craft who might have issues with a website design. Anyway, I'm rambling. I really, really hope they sort it out. But in the meantime, I have toggled back to classic view. I also filled out the survey, which was a bit irritating, because I don't have any sort of neurological issues that might cause me to have problems, real problems with the site. But even doing the survey was a bit, I found it really hard to get through, because there was tons and tons of screenshots of like buttons and pages. It was really hard. So I don't know how they're really going to gather proper information of people that can't view the site. They won't be able to go through that survey. Anyway. So yeah, I didn't get it in the beginning, but I truly, truly do get it, and I really hope it gets sorted out. I did put a picture on my Instagram page as well, but I'm just trying to give you as many details in the podcast so that you know. So it can be, I think, let me just double check if she only sells on Ravelry. Okay, so Kumbi actually sells her patterns on Ravelry, but she's also got a website, and she's got Etsy as well. I'll go onto her Etsy shop and have a look. Ooh, I quite like that one. Don't start shopping. What's she got here? She's got mugs. What is that? Created to create two-tone. I should never have done this. She sells mugs, and they are beauty. Oh my goodness, right, I'm going to see if I can zoom in to show you. Look at that. Focus. Created to create. I haven't seen those before. Ooh, I might have to go and add that to my basket. Right, now I can't get out of that. How do I go back to the thing? Okay, the Easy Lace Panel Top is on her Etsy shop. Oh, it's here. It's £6.74 on her Etsy shop, but she also sells them on her website and on Ravelry. So if you are having problems with Ravelry, you can hop over to her Etsy shop to buy it there. And right, what can I say about this pattern other than I absolutely loved it? I made it in 4 days because I couldn't put it down. It was so addictive. You make it in 2 really easy to make panels. Because it's Aran weight, it works out really quickly. And then once you've sewn it together, you literally add a few rows to make the ruffles, which is fun because ruffles are always fun. The measurements that I got, I made the medium size. I have 40, just about a full 39, 40 inch bust. And I made the medium size because I didn't want it to be too fitted. It is designed to have negative ease, but I wanted it to just be kind of exact. So the medium size finishes at around a 37 inch finish size. And as you can see from the video, it fits me perfectly. And it's not too tight around my stomach. So I absolutely loved it, and yeah, I had to do a couple of little squares. I feel like I'm really just rambling. Is my hair gone mad as well? I used 5, 6, 7 balls of the drops Bomull-Lin. I'm probably saying that wrong, aren't I? But I used 7 balls. This is how much I've got left out of 7 balls. I've got about 7.5 balls. So I've got, this is the half of the 8th ball. And I had to do a couple of test swatches too, so that's included. So these were test swatches I did right at the beginning, and I washed and blocked them. And I decided to keep them because they are perfect, because they're crochet and linen. I'm going to just sew in the ends, and you have to do the swatch in the pattern design, so they're quite cute. I'm just going to use them as face cloths, or makeup wipes. They're going to be perfect. So I'm just going to weave in the ends and pop those in the bathroom. So that was perfect, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, so thank you so much, Kumbi. I'm not sure Kumbi watches, but to be trusted to make the pattern was really, really good, because I'm a terrible slow knitter, and I'm a terrible tester when it comes to stuff like that. But as soon as I saw that pattern, I thought, I know that I can do that. I know that I could test that, and I could do it quickly, and I wouldn't let her down. So thank you, Kumbi, for letting me test it. Don't try and talk and read at the same time, you get distracted. Okay, my other finished thing. Right, so I've got a doily, some yarn and some sewing. Okay, so let's start with the doily. You would have seen this if you watched my vlog. So on the very last vlog that I did, I mentioned I've lost it. Where's it gone? Oh, here it is. Hang on. It's underneath the sewing. I found this. I got a big box of scraps of fabric, which it's been in a cupboard for ages, and I decided, right, I'm going to sort this box out, get rid of fabric I don't need, and maybe have a think about trying to learn how to do English paper piecing so I can use this fabric in some kind of project. Not sure how good I'm going to be at that, but then randomly, and this should be an incoming, I'm just going to go all over the place now, through the post I got a belated birthday present. And this is from my absolutely gorgeous friend Gaynor, and this is a belated birthday present from her, and it's from So Sweet Violet. Look at how posh this box looks. So Sweet Violet. And it is one of Jules, who is So Sweet Violet, it's one of her English paper piecing kits. So you get in it, like, you get a glue pen, something mystically called milliner's needles, which I think is something to do with making hats, some thread, a clip, some stalky scissors, and then a packet of, well, you get a packet of templates. They're like little hexagon templates. Rustle, rustle, and then you get all of these amazing squares, hexagons of fabric. And I don't know how Jules picks these fabrics out, but she somehow managed to pick fabrics that every single one just give me some kind of little bars of a memory that I can't quite put my finger on, like something from in my distant childhood past, and I can't quite put my finger on. But it reminds me of things that I know that make me feel happy. This one kind of makes me think of strawberry shortcake. Yellow. anything yellow. This one as well, this, I don't know, again, maybe it's strawberry shortcake vibes, I don't know. There's just the most amazing colours, and oh, I just spent ages just going through them and just sort of absorbing the way each of these little fabrics made me feel. Look at that one with the strawberries. So I'm kind of really nervous about this and kind of really excited. I'm definitely not going to start this in the summer months because I don't like summer. I speak about this regularly. I'm not good in summer at all. I feel very down in summer. I don't like the heat. My hands sweat ridiculously. I have some form of hyperhidrosis or something in my hands and feet. So like most of the time my hands are too sticky to do anything. And if I tried to do sewing, I'd just get in a sticky mess. I'm delightful, aren't I? Absolutely delightful. Anyway, so that was a gorgeous gift from my friend Gaynor, and yeah, it came just at the right time as I was kind of thinking, right, I've got to sort this box of fabric scraps out. What on earth am I going to do with them? And then this arrived, so now I know. So thank you, Gaynor, and thank you, Jules. All this to say that I was going through the box, and at the bottom of this box of fabric scraps was this. There was a couple of other crochet things as well, but I'll show those in future episodes. It was a doily. It was all scrunched up, and it still is a bit. It's actually a hexagon shape. It's really hard to hold it out because I don't have 6 hands, and I blocked it. It's cotton, definitely. I can feel that dry cottony feel. It blocked really well. And I don't know where it's come from. I don't think I made it. I'm pretty sure my mum gave it to me. But I don't know why my mum would have had something like this. And I'm pretty sure I didn't make it at some point in my crochet past. But then there's a good chance I might have done. I just have no clue where this has come from. It doesn't seem old. The white of the cotton is very, very white. It's not yellowed in any way. And I would have thought if it was old and had come from like a family member in the past, it would have looked a bit more aged. So now I've just got to decide what to do with it. A few people on my vlog suggested, oh, hang on a minute, I've just got to stop the camera and restart. So it gets angry if I film for over a certain amount of time. Yeah, a few people on my vlog suggested I could put it onto a bit of fabric and put it into a project bag, which I really like the idea of. I quite like the idea of putting it on a cushion. We're going to be doing our bedroom this year, hopefully. Well, we were supposed to have done it already, but you know, coronavirus. Yeah, I quite like the idea of having it on a cushion, but for now, just pleased that I found it and I blocked it. So that's my cheaty finished crochet object because I didn't technically make it. Well, I might have done. Anyway, the other thing I've been doing is some yarn dyeing. I occasionally do this just for fun. And I filmed it as part of my vlog series that I was doing. I did some solar dyeing. We had a really hot day a few weeks ago. And I thought what I would do is harness the power of the heat to dye some Christmas yarn so that I could think of the cooler days ahead and feel happier, and also then when I come to knit with it I'll remember that we are past these days of heat and summer. So I dyed 2 skeins in slightly different ways. Now if you want to go, and I won't go into great detail about how I did this, you can go and watch the video which I will link below, and you can watch the whole process of how I did this using the heat of the sun. So I did one in very, very minimal colours. Oh, it's got my hair all over it, which is this one. So I just used very pale blue and red to try and get that kind of snowy colour, you know, Christmas. I like that kind of red and blue Christmas vibe. So yeah, I really like this one. It's very, very subtle. And these are both just skeins of Regia 4-ply yarn that I got undyed from eBay. I think if I bought 2, it was like £14 for 2 or something, so it's like £7 a skein. It's just a merino nylon mix, and it's perfect for just you know, having a little play about and dyeing with. So I'm really pleased with that one. And then the other one I dyed in very, very bright primary colours, And then I was a bit kind of like, meh, you know, whatever. I was a bit not very pleased with it. So I over dyed it with grey. The moment I put the grey in the pan, I immediately panicked and thought, oh my God, I've ruined that. But actually, I love how it's turned out. I really love how it's kind of dialed down the bright reds, greens, blues, yellows. And yeah, I really like that kind of muted Christmassy colour. Yeah, so these are definitely going to be some socks, I think, some Christmassy socks. Do they go together? No, I think I'll keep them separate. Yeah, so I was really pleased with how those came out, and it was really fun to do. So definitely, if you fancy trying that over the summer months, if indeed you're in a place where it is the summer months, then definitely go and check out that video. I am not an expert, I just show you what I did. Made up stuff. Okay, the final finished thing I have is some sewing, and here in the UK they've now made from from Friday coming, masks are going to be mandatory in shops, and also on the 1st of August we are going on holiday. We are going to France. We've had it booked since January and we weren't sure if it was ever going to happen, but we have an air bridge now between France and the UK, which means we can travel without having to quarantine. If we'd had a different type of holiday booked, we might have cancelled it, but as it is, we are actually driving to France. We're going via the tunnel, so we just drive onto the train, and the train takes about an hour and a half, or I think, yeah, about an hour and a half, and then we're out the other side. We drive off the train, and then we drive for about 5 hours down to the house that we've rented. It's a private house, it's only us using it, and we'll have a pool. So even if we do nothing else but swim for a week, I think the girls will be delighted. We don't plan on having too many trips out or going to where other people are other than to the supermarket. And I would very much love to go to Saint Malo, but we might just drive there and get a sense of how busy it is before we make any decisions about getting out. But obviously, if you've watched these podcasts for any length of time, you will know that I recently read the book All the Light We Cannot See. And I absolutely loved that book, and it is a lot of it is set in Saint Malo in France, and we are only going to be a few miles away from there. It's just a coincidence we'd already booked the holiday in Brittany in France before I read the book, so it's almost like a sign, isn't it? I think there's something is obviously telling me that I need to go, so that's what we're going to do. That's another tangent to tell you that I've been making masks. So this is my next finished object. This is Phoebe's one, and it's one of the shaped ones. I can't put it on because it's too small for me, but she wanted one with this lovely bunny fabric, which was a lovely gift a little while ago now from a podcast viewer. And she's had her eye on this for a long time. So the moment I said, right, do you want to choose some fabric for your mask? She immediately chose this. She loves animals, and yeah, she absolutely loves wearing it, which is good, because I think for me, and certainly for Lilia, we're not big fans of wearing them. We're very uncomfortable. Lilia wears glasses as well, so I think that just makes, you know, there's a lot going on her face, which she finds a bit irritating. But in all honesty, for the girls, they're not going to be spending any great amount of time in shops. It's just not going to be happening. So this is Lilia's one. Ooh. She's also got a shaped one. I did it, this fabric, this cloud fabric, is actually a curtain I made for her. It's just not a proper curtain, it just goes across an alcove. It's just quilting cotton. And it's remnants from the curtain in her bedroom. So that's what she's got on hers. And they're both reversible, so Lilia actually wore hers with this on the outside. It's been washed. You're supposed to wash them after every time you've been out wearing them. Phoebe's has just got blue on the side, but they're completely reversible. It was, again, my friend Gaynor, who has the Tales from Cuckoo Land podcast, or channel, I should say. She does vlogs. She sent me a link to the pattern that she had used. So I'll link that underneath if you're interested. I have modified it slightly because I didn't like what it has you do is you sew this bit a bit longer and then you fold it over and then you thread the elastic through, but I didn't like that because it meant that you had a knot and you had to, it just annoyed me a bit. So what I did was I just shortened it slightly and I sewed the elastic in, and I much prefer that as a finish. And with Lilia, she felt that the this bit here was far too wide on her face, so I just narrowed it slightly for her, and that's a bit better. I personally don't like this style. I find it very uncomfortable to wear. Dan's got this style, he really likes it, so I've just got to make him another one. And Phoebe's got two, I made my mum two, Dan's got one and Lilia's got one, so I need to make them each one, and I've got two. So it's enough to wear one, wash one, wear one, wash one. And my one is the concertina style one. This is an incredibly simple pattern. I made it using a video tutorial by Melanie Ham. She's got a couple, and I eyeballed the pleats rather than using her seam ripper thing, because that was too complicated for my tiny little brain. It wasn't complicated at all, it was very simple, but I could not compute it. So this is my latest one, which is a lot better than my first one. And what you do is you put it on, and then you can open it up like that. Ta-da! And I find this a lot more comfortable than the shaped one. And then if you come out of the shop and you're walking around, you can just hook it round like that and pretend you have a beard. You'll see. And again, reversible. So I purposely did all of them with different fabrics on each side. So that you always remember, if you're going out and you think, right, I'm wearing the light blue, so you've always got the light blue facing out, so you go in and out of a couple of shops, you always know that it's this way out. And then I've made all of them in different fabrics as well, so you always know which one you finish with and is washing and which one is drying, and so on. Yeah, so really pleased with those. I'll put the links to both the patterns underneath the video in case you're interested in making them. They're kind of boring, aren't they, to make, because they're just so practical. But if you're going to wear a mask, you might as well wear one that's handmade and washable and reusable, rather than those awful throwaway ones which are just going to go into landfill and clutter up the world. Okay, that is finished objects. And that's probably taken me so long. Settle in, guys, we've got a lot more to do. We've got a lot more to talk about. We're going to move on to works in progress. Okay, I'm not going to be talking about my granny stripe blanket because I've done nothing to it, and I'm not going to be talking about my wild wheat shawl because, again, I've not added anything to it, which is a shame because I was loving that project. But I think it came to the point where I decided I want to make it a lot bigger, and then I had to start making decisions about colours, and my brain just went, no decisions here. So I'm wondering if maybe I might have a little hour at some stage next week and choose all the colours I want to put in it and get that ready, and that could be my holiday project, maybe? Not sure. Anyway, we're not talking about those. We're going to start with my Waroo shawl, or should I say the conundrum of the Waroo shawl. Ooh. It is living in my lovely bag, which was a gift from an equally lovely viewer of this podcast called Lynn. And inside is my Waroo shawl, and the Waroo shawl is a pattern by Deanne Ramsey, who is Added Designs. Here is a very scrumpled up picture of her beautiful finished one. I've made this before, so this is my second Waroo, and I've got to the stage where I'm onto the final colour, moving on towards the final sort of border bit that runs along the bottom. I'm absolutely loving it. And you can stop here and just do the border. You can just not add a fourth colour, and you just do the border and you're done. But I want to make it exactly the same size as my previous one, because I wear my previous one all the time. Obviously not at the moment, but in the winter, and I want it to be the same size. So at the moment, it has been pointed out to me that it looks like the sea going into the waves and the wash onto the beach up in the sand. And it really does. I can't get that out of my head now. So once it sort of seemed like it had been coordinated to look like that, I started to agonise over what the fourth colour should be. My initial thought was to go back to the white, which I should say, this one is, okay, so let me tell you what all the yarns are. Okay, right, this one is absolutely beautiful. I really love this. Is Bumblebee Acres Fibre Farm. It is their Coquette Sock base, which is a 75% American Corridal, 25% nylon. It is Outlander inspired colourway called Dragonfly in Amber. So that's the white. The blue, the gorgeous blue, this is called Seascape, and it is by Mrs. S Creations. There we go. Ooh. Lots of labels here. I've still got the little stitch marker she included with this. That's a little rainbow. Mrs. S Creations, there's all her deets. There. And that colourway is Seascape. It's on her titanium sock base, 75 superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. And then the final one, the yellow, the sand, is by lovely Sam, who's Betsy Makes. This is on her Strictly sock base, which is very exciting, and the colour is Charming, and the Strictly sock base is 75% merino, 20% nylon and 5% gold stellina, because you gotta have stellina, haven't you? It is Strictly. I wonder if Strictly's happening this year. Even if Strictly's not happening, the Strictly sock along is still happening. I'm just saying that now. We don't need the show in order to have the essence of Strictly. It's happening. There are things in the pipeline. There are exciting yarns and patterns that people are doing. And I've got a little plan too, which if I can get my act together, I'm hoping you'll all be really excited about. But we'll talk about that in future ramblings. Yeah, so I just needed to decide on the fourth colour. And then I really wanted to use something from Stash and couldn't find anything. Am I really low down? Like I'm really low down. Oh, I'm sticking to the chair now. Yeah, I've been through every box, every bag, thinking I must have something in Stash that would be the perfect fourth colour. And I don't have anything. A couple of friends suggested a nice burnt orange. I kind of, yeah, I'm not sure. What about green? It could be going into the green of the dunes or something. A green might be nice. So yeah, I sort of reached this sort of conundrum of, oh, I don't know what colour to do next. So honestly, if you've got any good ideas, because when I made my last one, it was the viewers of this podcast that suggested the fourth colour as a dark teal, and they were bang on right. So any suggestions you've got for what the fourth colour should be will be gratefully received. So that is the Waru shawl. Okay, my next whip to share with you, right, is the Molly, oh, we've just, oh no, tanglement. The Molly Hue hat. Okay. The Molly Hue hat is living in my gorgeous Piggies Market bag. I bought this last year. It's got little blue and pink bikes on, and it just really reminded me for some reason of our trip to Denmark the year before last. I love this bag so much, and yeah, it's by Piggies Market. And I've started the Molly Hue hat, so I'd been swatching on and off for this, hoping, you know, to get started, and sort of also putting myself off a bit because it's a colour work hat. And I felt a little bit nervous about it because, I mean, it's quite intricate and beautiful. The picture that I printed is black and white, unfortunately. But I asked Shin, who is super shiny superhero, I always get that in the wrong order. I asked her if I could use one of her images previously, and she very kindly said yes, I can use her image to pop on the screen so you can see it in its full colourful glory, and you can see hopefully why I've chosen the colours that I've chosen. So you can see it's really intricate and probably a little bit out of my skill zone, but never mind. I am using a plain cream colour. Now I didn't have well, I'm hoping I have enough in this one ball, but in case I don't, I've got a backup one. They are slightly different creams, but I don't think overall it's going to notice. I'm not too worried about it. And then for the colour element of it, I'm using a Knit Crate Knitology one, and the colour is Citrus Squeeze. It was a gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast called Annette last Christmas. I've wound it all up into a ball. I always wind my skeins into balls. I always hand wind them because I love doing it. I absolutely love sitting, watching a film, watching some Netflix in the evening, especially when my brain has got no oomph left in it, not even for knitting or crochet. You can always wind up yarn. So that's what it looks like, citrus squeeze. And I have started the brim, very nervously started the brim, and I've just started, I think I've done one row of the colour work so far. It's not even worth showing you, is it? Ta-da! But I'm absolutely loving the yarn. I'm loving this citrus squeeze. I'm loving how that's going to work up with the very, just the plain cream. And I'm really excited to see how it goes. I do, I do have the fact that I've managed to do the intarsia on the as if tee behind me. So that's given me a little bit of a confidence boost. And I'm just, yeah, I'm just hoping I don't mess it up. I might watch a few colour work tutorials before I go on. But I'm just really glad to have swatched for it, got the right size and, got started. Because I think sometimes, with me anyway, it's just about, come on, let's just get it started. Get the stuff together, get it started, and then you're away, aren't you? Even if it takes me ages to finish it. So that is the Molly Hugh hat. I've also started another hat. I don't know, it's not, I won't have much to say about it. But so the same Annette that sent me the Knitology yarn also sent me a gift for my birthday, which was a kit to make the Lobster on the Rocks hat by Donna Frost Ritchie. She is, what's her? Mrs. Knitter Designs, that's the hat there. Another colourwork hat. Oh my goodness, so I'm very excited to try it. So, and it comes with all the yarn that you need. So I started swatching. Well, no, actually I did swatch and then I started the hat. But, I mean, I don't know if you can tell. It's really interesting actually. You do the rib in colour work. I'm not sure how well I'm doing it, but it's going to be way too big. So I've had to stop and I'm going to have to go down, well, a few needle sizes. I'm using 2.75mm, so I think I'm going to have to go down to at least a 2.25. Yeah, so that is something that's kind of, I need to get my head around the gauge and getting the right needle size, and then I can get started on that. But I am excited to have a couple of colourwork projects on the go. That is, makes me feel like a proper knitter. Yeah, so there's that one. And then I got, okay, so when I was making the as if tee, I needed to switch down to a 2.5mm needle to do the final rib, because what I did was I started with a provisional cast on, and then I knit down, and then I added the rib around the bottom of the waistline last. I probably should have said that when I was talking about it, but I didn't. I'm saying it now. And I couldn't find a 2.5mm needle anywhere, and I knew I had it because I knew I'd ordered it before, but I couldn't find it. So I was going through everything, every cupboard, every box, every bag, and in doing so unearthed a load of languishing sort of graveyard projects when I was like, oh, I forgot about those. So in the hunt for the needle, I unearthed a long-standing whip that I've had for ages, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get that out. I'm going to take it out of the plastic bag that it's sitting in, and I'm going to put it in a project bag. So my dodgy, ultimate dodgy bag is out again because it's nice and big, and it is a crochet bag. If you've watched for a while, you might remember seeing this before, but if not, I don't blame you if you've forgotten it. It's quite garish. This is a giant granny square, as you can see. The pattern I am making is actually a charted crochet pattern. It is the Striped Bag 29210444. It is by Piro Yarns. There we go. And I am using yarn that was a gift for my 40th birthday from my real life friend, which that doesn't make any sense anymore, does it? All friends, whether they're online or not, are your real life friends. We're not living in the 1990s anymore. So my friend Caroline, who I went to school with, for my birthday bought me a ton of yarn, some in all different colours, and I used all the purple toned yarns to make the my favourite jeans top. by Detroit Knots. So I used the purples for that. And the greens I am using to make this bag. I've got the handles, which were a gift from my friend Lou, Foxy Yarn, ages ago. I'm talking probably 2 years ago. She sent me these and she recommended the pattern. And the reason she sent me them was because I had admired her bag when I met her at a yarn festival. So she said, oh, this is the pattern I use and I've got the handles. I'll send them to you, which she very, very kindly did. And I've been working on it ever since. So I found this languishing at the bottom of her bag and I thought, I'm going to pick that up and finish it. So I've got a few more rounds to do on this main square, and then there's a few other sort of panels that you have to knit to put it all together. Did I show you what it'll actually look like? Or did I just show you the... Oh, well, yeah, it was here. So it'll end up, very bad black and white copy, but it'll end up looking like that. And I'm probably going to line mine as well, so that's going to be a whole other adventure. Yeah, so that's another working project that's been kind of revived. Working project? Work in progress that's been revived. And then, right, final work in progress, I think, is... Right, so we're going to France. So all of a sudden, that's 2 weeks today. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness, we're actually going on holiday. I better start getting ready. And I always do the girls a little travel bag each when we're doing a long car journey. So I put in sort of books, maybe some sweets, lip balm. This time I've put in things like hand gel, you know, for keeping their hands clean, some tissues, maybe a puzzle book, some pens, and you know, all things like that. And I always put in something handmade. It's usually a creature, which could be their companion for the holiday. So I am going to be making a pattern I've had saved on my phone forever. And I should have already finished one, but for the fact I ran out of yarn. So there's a story behind this. I'm going to look up the pattern on my phone. It is called the Donato Bear Two-Legged. It is a free pattern and it is on lanukas.com. I will put the link to it underneath. There is a person I follow on Instagram called Marine's Shop. Is it Marine's Shop? Followed them for ages and hang on a minute. Let me find it. Yeah, Marines_shop. I followed her for ages and ages and ages, and maybe about a year or year and a half ago, she went through a phase of making these bears. And I went and found the pattern because I was like, I have got to make those, and it's taken me this long to get around to doing it. And now it's quite simple, as you can see, because it's just a little two-legged bear. So I thought, well, that's not going to take me long. I can knock 2 of those up in a couple of weeks. So I started my first one. Here it is. I've got as far as about to do the decreases, and then I realised I was not going to have enough yarn to finish it off. And I was using this beautiful little packet, look, it's a bit crunkled now, of Katia amigurumi yarn. And I've got the packet, but they come in different sort of colours. So, and my one is S01. Can I get it? Was a gift. It was a gift that was sent to me by an absolutely gorgeous viewer of this podcast ages ago. And can I find that colourway anywhere that's in stock? I thought I'd found it on eBay and I bought it, and then the seller just randomly cancelled the transaction and refunded my money. So even sorry, there's a fly, that fly is buzzing around. So I couldn't even get it there. I was like, oh, that's no problem. I'll just go and buy another pack and then I can continue. Anyway, I'm not going to frog it because I haven't given up hope that I might find that yarn and finish it off. But I just started again with a much bigger ball of yarn. So this is number 2. I basically made most of this morning whilst I was having my morning cup of tea. So I've done the feet, the legs and the first part of the jumper, and then you just work round and round and round until you start decreasing, and then you pop on his nose and his ears and, you know, do all the finishing off bits, and you've got a little two-legged bear. Just looks a bit weird at the moment. So if I can finish this over the weekend, then I'll have plenty of time to do a second one to pop as a little funny present, a little surprise in their travel bags. So I will keep you posted on that. Hopefully we'll get to film a podcast before we go. But if not, I'll share it when we get back. I'm holding my crochet hook now like that's my pen, but it's not. I'll put it back in the bag. It's not even living in a project bag, it's just living in a carrier bag from Tofu Cute. Not Tofu Cute, they sell Tofu Cute stuff. What's it called? Oh, it's a shop in Soho in London which the kids absolutely love. They sell all sort of Japanese sweets and fluffy things, and it's all cute stuff. Yes, because it doesn't need a project bag, so it's not going to be a long project. Okay, I think I've just been talking for hours and we've still got more to talk about. I've got some incoming things I wanted to share with you. Obviously I've already shared with you the beautiful gift from Gainer, but I've also had a couple of other beautiful things come in the post. I forgot this I wanted to show you. It's a beautiful card that a lovely viewer of this, I keep saying that, a lovely viewer of this podcast, but I mean it. I don't sort of say that in a kind of flippant kind of like way. I really do think that the people that send me things are just wonderful. I just feel so grateful. But this was from Elaine, and she made this. I had this up for ages upstairs in the living room. It will ultimately go up in my craft shed when it happens. Yeah, so thank you, Elaine, for that. She sent me a little parcel with some goodies in it, and she had a couple of like crochet amigurumi sets that she wasn't going to use, and she said, would you like them, because she knows I like making them for the girls. So she sent them to me, and when she did, she sent a lovely letter, and she sent this lovely little handmade card. It's just so clever what people can make. And oops, I also got sent another very artistic thing. So this is from all the way from Texas. Was it Texas? No, Tennessee. From Tennessee, and it was from Raquel, and she contacted me on Instagram and said, I have done a little series of mini watercolours inspired by the walks that you took during your lockdown vlogs. Would you like them? I was like, yes, I would. So in exchange, I've sent Raquel a few little bits here from Britain, and a pin and so on, which is very, very tiny when I show you what she has sent me. Now, I'm not sure whether to hold these up or put a film of them over the top. I'll hold them up, and if they don't come out okay, I'll put a film. But what she's done is she's done a series of mini watercolours that are all done inspired by the walks that we took with our girls over the course of lockdown. And the amazing thing about these little watercolours is the way she's done them. I know exactly where we are. I remember the day. I can tell what the girls are wearing, even though it's just suggested. And I know exactly where we are. This is in the rapeseed field just behind my mum's house. And that was quite early on in lockdown because the field was yellow. It's no longer yellow. This is in a section of an ancient woodland that we live nearby. We were just about to go up a very steep hill into the woods. This is on a section of the heath, I think. There's a woodland section of the heath. And that's, I was walking through it. And this is most definitely in the field around the back of my mum's, because that's the local church in the distance. It is just, they are just beautiful. Now I'm going to have to think of the best way to display these because they have to go up. But for the moment I'm just keeping them very carefully wrapped in the little bits of fabric that she wrapped them in to send them to me. She also sent me some postcards and little bits like that from her hometown in Tennessee, which was always really interesting. I put some of them in my lockdown coronavirus diaries. I'm just trying to work out the best way to... I had them all wrapped up and now I can't work out how I did it. That'll have to do for now. I'll just carefully pop them down and I will sort that out afterwards. And the other... So yes, thank you, Raquel. I was really, really touched that you did that, and I was just so impressed with how talented that you are. I could only hope to be able to do paintings like that. I am learning to draw and paint at the moment as part just various, that was a book I wanted to share with you and I haven't brought up. I'm gonna have to go and get that in a minute. I've been really getting into watching videos about urban sketching, and I've been really discovering some amazing artists who are kind of doing the genre of painting that I'm interested in, or drawing I should say. Yeah, so that was really inspiring, so thank you very much for that. I also received a lovely message from Echo and Loma, who are they are sisters, and they are the co-presenters of the Rogan Camp podcast. Just going to make sure I said that right. Yeah, Rogan Camp. For some reason when I said it I thought I got it wrong. And they present a lovely podcast. They live together and they craft together and they podcast together, and they sent me this. I can't get over this. It's got my podcast name on it and it's embroidered. How clever is that? That is their, let me get this the right way up. That is the name of their Etsy shop. Here we go. Narwhal Creations. We all love a narwhal round here. Yeah, it's got a handle on it. It's yellow. It's got yellow lining, and they even popped in some additional little patches with a like different kind of design on them. So I've got that, and I've got that, so I can incorporate them into my own bags. So I was really, really chuffed with that. So yeah, thank you, Echo and Loma. That was really, really kind of you to send me that. And I will treasure that, and I can't wait to use it for, that's a lovely sort of sock or shawl project size bag. I'm really, really, really thrilled with it. Thank you so much. And it's beautifully made as well. So yeah, I'm a very lucky bunny being sent stuff like that. Lucky bunny? Why am I calling myself a bunny? Okay. Yeah, I think that's all the incoming things I wanted to share. I think I've had a few other things, but I shared a lot of, in the vlogs. I've been talking so much now. Okay, I wanted to share some books and audio things that I've been listening to, just because it might be interesting to you. So a book that I finished is one that I've mentioned before. I got this for my birthday, I think, from the girls. It is Coming to England by Floella Benjamin, or should I say Baroness Floella Benjamin. She was a well-loved children's television presenter here in the UK when I was at the age where I watched children's television. So I saw this on Sarah, who is Yarn Mugs. She was talking about this. Oh God, my battery's going. And I thought, no, I've got to get that, because I absolutely loved Floella Benjamin and I really wanted to read it. It's a very short book. It is a really lovely book. It's on beautiful paper. It's got beautiful illustrations throughout. The illustrator is Michael Frith. But it's just got these wonderful illustrations on almost every page. It's just really, really good. And it's the story of how her and her siblings came to England in the 1950s? No, she came in the early 1960s. You can tell that it's a much bigger story than the story that she tells in the book. Like I say, it's I think I read it in 2 nights, and I don't read fast or quickly, which is the same word. And you can tell there's a lot more underneath the story she's telling, that it could probably have been 3 times as long, the book. It was more like, it felt like an essay more than a book. But I absolutely loved it, and I'll be passing it on to the girls, because I think it's actually really good for younger kids, like younger age group as well, because it tells the story in a way that's very easy to digest and bring in, without being too long, especially for, say, Phoebe's age. She's 9, without losing her attention. And the way it's written in the shorter chapters, and it just conjures up exactly what it was like for their family and what they went through leaving where they lived and the change in coming here. And it ends on a really positive note. And yeah, like I say, much beloved person from my childhood. So yeah, especially if you're British and you remember Floella, I would really, really recommend giving that a read. What else? Yeah, I wanted to share the book that I bought about drawing, so I'm going to go and get that in a minute. But first I just wanted to share two things I've been listening to audio. The first one is Black and British by David Olusoga. It is fantastic. It is David Olusoga is a historian, a British historian, and he tells the story of black history all the way back to Tudor. Like he goes. I'm only 3 or 4 chapters in. Dan is a lot further ahead, but he's going back to like Tudor times, Roman times, coming all the way through that kind of really not ancient history, but history. And the way he's written it is fascinating. The guy who reads it is an actor. His name is Codner Holbrook Smith, and I literally could listen to him all day, except he would probably send me to sleep because he's got such a soothing voice. And I think with audiobooks it's really important, isn't it, that sometimes you can think, oh, I can't wait to listen to that, I might get that on audiobook, I can listen to that whilst I'm walking, and you listen to the narrator and you think, I can't listen to that person, there's something about their voice, or they're just not reading it, they're not performing it very well. But this guy is reading it perfectly. You are just immersed in this history, and this history that is all of our history and is so important to learn about. I am absolutely riveted by it. And Dan in particular, he loves history, and I'd said to him, you might enjoy this. I think you'll find it really interesting. And he started listening to it on his runs, and now like I'll hear him going around like for a shower, and he'll have it playing as he's going to the shower, and as a result he's like almost finished it, and I'm still like on chapter 4. But I would really recommend it. I signed up for a free Audible trial and I got it free that way, so I'm absolutely loving it. Joe Wicks has got a podcast as well, but I haven't listened to it yet, but he's on BBC Radio 4. He's got a podcast you can get on Apple. I think his first episode he's talking to Gordon Ramsay, so I'm assuming there'll be some colourful language in that, but yeah, I'm going to give that a listen, but I can't tell you what it's like because I haven't actually listened to it. But I'm just going to go and get the drawing book because I really want to show you that. Okay, I'm going to have to really wrap it up because it's 11:30, which means I've been talking for at least an hour. And my battery light keeps flashing at me. This is the new book that I've got. Now I've got a few books that I've been buying. I've spoken about another one before by Stephen Reddy. This is by Alfonso Dunn. I discovered him on YouTube doing amazing tutorials on drawing. He just does tons and tons of free lessons on perspective and texture and shading, and just, you know, for beginners. And I just got completely hooked. And then at the beginning of all of his videos he talks about his books that he's got, and he's got 2, and I got his first one, which is Pen and Ink Drawing, a simple guide, and he gives you all tips on different types of materials and holding the pen, you know, really basic stuff. And then he starts to talk to you about perspective, shading, texture. And the really good thing about it is it's done in a way, it's a very sort of flexible book. The paper is, it feels like an exercise book. And he says, you know, little notes, you know, write notes, scribble in it, you know, practice. You know, he's encouraging you to use it as a workbook to work with as you learn. I'm going to have to go and get something to plug my camera in. Right, I'm all plugged in. I had to run downstairs and get me a portable charger and plug it in, and then wait for a bit whilst my camera caught up with itself. So hopefully we're all right just to finish off. But yeah, as I was saying, this is a fantastic book. I got it from Amazon here in the UK. I haven't actually started the exercises yet because obviously homeschooling, work, but I cannot wait. And it's broken down. I've had a flick through and you just sort of look at it and think, oh, if I can even do a little bit of what he's teaching me to do here, I will improve my drawing skills so much. And I'm so loving learning about this subject. So I just wanted to mention that. What else? And finally, right, okay. the May vlog. So if you have been with me for a while, you will know that I did lockdown vlogs from late March all the way until pretty much July, and in May I donated all of the revenue that we made on any video throughout May. I donated the full amount to, but I split it between two charities. In the end we raised just over £500. I then upped that a little bit, so I paid £260 to each of the charities, which was the National Emergency Fund, Coronavirus Appeal, and the Children's Society Coronavirus Appeal. You saw me making those donations on my very last vlog, so I just want to say thank you for your support throughout May and for helping this channel to raise that amount of money. It was all done through advertising revenue, so it was everyone who let the adverts run at the beginning or end of the vlogs that just bumped up the revenue, and people were going back and watching older videos, and it was just a really lovely thing to do throughout the month of May, and I feel very good that we were able to make a donation. Both these charities do very well. The bigger charity, the National Emergency Fund, distributes funds to frontline charities working with the most vulnerable people affected by the crisis, and the same with the Children's Society. It's working with the most vulnerable children out there, because obviously lockdown raised a lot of safeguarding issues for children, and they're doing a lot of work in the very front line working with that. So I'm really pleased to have made those donations, and it's all down to you guys, so thank you. Also, I wanted to mention that I have opened my shop again. It is going to be closed whilst I go on holiday. In fact, I might close it over the summer holidays for August, just because it'll be a bit harder for me to be running to the post office, and it'll probably be a lot busier as well. But I have opened my shop. I've also added a seconds listing in the shop. I have a lot of pins that have slight defects. Some of them are worse than others, but it's like scratches in the enamel, or the lettering might be a bit faded in parts, so I'm not happy with how clear the lettering is, or a little bit of the enamel might have overspilled the black outline. And I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't want to sell them because I didn't feel they were up to standard. So I've just put them in my shop as seconds. So my normal pin is £6 and the seconds are £4. So I figured it's a bit of a bargain, isn't it? Yeah, so that's that I wanted to mention. And oh, also I mentioned this on the last vlog, but I'm going to mention it here as well, that I was nominated by a lot of you to be for the British Film Institute's lockdown project, Britain on Lockdown project, and as a result I was included in a vlog alongside some amazing other creators on YouTube, and they said some really lovely things about my channel. So I just want to thank all of you who nominated me. Apparently I received more nominations than anybody else for the project. I feel really embarrassed and slightly squirmy saying that, but it, you know, I do suffer a little bit from anxiety, a little bit, and confidence, and to have been nominated for something like that just really gave me a little confidence boost. It made me, you know, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I really do believe that I have the very best viewers on YouTube, and I'm very grateful for you. So thank you for allowing me to do this thing that I really enjoy, and by that I mean you're there, you're watching. I get a little bit of revenue from doing this now, which allows me to justify the time it takes to putting the podcast together, and just thank you. I just want you to know I take this channel very seriously. I know that I'm not a very serious person, but I do take it very seriously, and I want to do the best that I can. I'm like that with everything, and I don't mean in a weird perfectionist way. I just want to do the best that I can, and I know that having a following on YouTube is a responsibility, and I do take that very seriously. What else did I want to say? I've run out of notes, so that must be it. I just wanted to say that we are off on holiday. I will probably try and make a film about that, whether it goes on our family channel, This Little Wonderful Life, or not. I'll try and do some vlogs, and if the Wi-Fi is any good, maybe I might be able to upload something whilst we're away. That would be really fun to do. Yeah, and I just want to get back to providing more regular content again. I've missed it. I've missed the interaction with you guys, and Yeah, and thank you for all the love on Instagram when I shared the picture of my finished easy lace panel top and also my as if tee. It's really nice to hear from you all. So I think I'm just going to stop talking. I think that's best for everyone. And I will see you again very soon. And until then, happy crocheting, happy crafting, happy knitting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.